This is the axe that's more suited to splitting. Honestly, that thicker axe did a lot better than I thought it would. Probably because this is really tough timber. And kind of any piece of metal would interact with it okay. So you've got some axe options. And you have a specific task that you want to use that axe for. Well, the first thing you do is you go over the dimensions. And I'll show you what those dimensions are. If you want a splitting axe, you look at this. It's called the overhead profile. And you look at how fat the cheeks are from here to here. And here to here. This right here is the primary bevel. This is what you, that's what you grind. Wherever there is grind marks, that's the primary bevel. But really, the entire axe up to here is a bevel if you make it like that, and it's a continuous taper. But really the bevel is what interacts with the wood first. And so you want a splitting axe, so you say, I want a thick axe. Is this a thick axe? Not particularly, but it's also not a skinny axe. This weighs 4 pounds, 3 ounces. So it's got a little bit of heft to it. Here is a, that's a plumb round lug Jersey. Here's an axe from the 1800s from Pennsylvania. And this is very fat. Now, people will tell you, you need this thing called a convexing high center line. A high center line is when the middle of the axe here, in the middle of the cheeks, is higher than here and here. So it kind of tapers down both sides. Now when it's convexing, that just means it's rounded. So as you can see, this does have that because this, whoops, because this right here is thinner than the middle of the axe cheeks. This is the cheeks, this is the toe, this is the heel of the axe, this is the bit, so this is the heel of the bit, this is the toe of the bit, and that's mostly what's important. This is called the pole right here. This hole is called the eye. Now, if you have a bunch of axes and you're not really sure how to grade them, you really want to check the eye area. So you want to look for cracks, you know, here and here, and on the other side, and same with the top. And if there are cracks and they run down pretty far, you might want to avoid that axe. Maybe you're looking at something to buy, something to look at. So this is a fat axe, but it doesn't have a high center line. When an axe has a really thick wedging profile, it doesn't need a high center line as much. This doesn't want to stick in the wood. And the reason why we talk about high center lines, usually it's for cross cutting, but it does help a little bit for splitting as well. The high center line will make it so the axe doesn't have as much contact with the wood. So you plunge the axe, I plunge the axe into the wood, right? And just imagine it's all the way up to here. Because there's less contact, because this is higher than here and here, there's less contact, and you might be able to kind of wiggle that axe out a little easier. Now, when your axe is super fat like this, it just wants to squeeze right out of that wood no matter what. So if you have a really fat axe like this is the fattest of the bunch, and I'll show you the others too. This one has a nice profile, pretty decent. So that's a decent splitter, but it only weighs 3 pounds, 14 ounces. So it will split. It won't be too bad, but it won't take on the toughest of tough woods. Now here is a plum round lug, just like this one, but it's only 3 pounds, 8 ounces, 3.5 pounds. As you can see, it has that 3-2. The 2 means, so each number after the 3 means 1/4 pound, so 2 means 2/4 pound. So this is a very nice axe, right? But look how thin it is. So this is a cutting axe. It's not too bad, actually. But this is for cutting. And one reason why it's not fat is because it's long. So when you stretch out an axe like this, and it's only so heavy, it's going to be thinner in this way, especially with a big pole like this. It's a long pole. When we talk about the eye and the pole, we call this a tall pole. So when from here to here is connected to the eye and the pole, or well, the eye is connected to the pole, we call it a tall pole. And that's how you know that there's a lot of contact. It's probably not going to come loose. And also, you know, you have that nice big pronounced pole. So that one's not too good. Now, this is a Tasmanian pattern, and same as this. Now, these are known. Buck and Billy Ray loves these Tasmanian patterns because they tend to be fat. And look at that. That has a really nice high center line. This weighs just under 4 1/4. And this is a decent splitter. Now, you could also take on some cross cutting with these, with this one and this one. And they take on, when they're chunkier like this, they take on bigger timber for cross cutting. So you'll be able to hit the big stuff with these. Now this, I'm going to probably limit this just to a splitter. It's got a pretty short bit. So bit length is from here to here, but essentially it's the front of the eye to the edge of the bit. So here to here. But when we measure a bit, the length of a axe, we measure here to here. But bit length to me is here. I don't know if anybody uses it like that, but I do. Okay, so one other aspect of this. Now, this goes with everything. When it comes to bit width, this is the bit width. So from heel to toe, that's the bit width. And this matters a lot because when you're a beginner, it's really hard to aim an axe. And the wider this bit is, the easier it is to hit where you're aiming. So this is a little less wide, this is very wide, this is very wide, and this one's, you know, up to par, but maybe a little less wide than this one. So if you are looking for an axe to cross cut with, maybe look for a jersey pattern because they usually have quite a wide bit. It's good for a beginner. But when we're talking about cross cutting, we're usually talking about bucking wood or limbing wood. These axes are all like 7 inches long or less. Around that, maybe 7.5 at most. Big axes, really long axes are like 9 inches wide. These are all single bit axes. Yeah, so this one's the narrowest one and it's 4.5. I guess that one's 5. That one's around 5. And then that one's around 5 too, and this one, you know, maybe a little less than 5. If you are in the market and you're looking to make an axe or you're looking to pick an axe, just make sure you understand how it works. And they're engineered for different tasks. And as I showed you, one of the most important things you could do is look at bit length and bit thickness. Now, if this is thick right here, you can change that. Like you can do a lot of work and you can grind it so it's thinner for cutting. But you can't add any thickness to here. And that's where it matters for big timber, for cutting big timber, and also splitting timber. Just makes it much easier when you have a fat axe. And this is just this is making me want to hang it. This is a special axe. It's as you, oh God. Oh boy, I'm not dropping that. This is a special axe. As you can see, the eye is kind of weird looking. And that's because it's from Pennsylvania. I think it's either Dutch or German. And they used to make axes that look like that. And yeah, this is a big boy. So another aspect of axes is where the balance is. So these Tasmanian patterns are very forward heavy. All the weight is up here. Look how small that pole is. I mean, it's less than a thumbnail. Less than a thumbnail thick. So not only is there no weight back there, but it's also a little more fragile, and I've seen them crack. I've never seen a Jersey crack. And this isn't even, you know, that's not even the thickest, biggest pole I've ever seen. Now this one has got a huge pole. Look how long that pole is. Big pole. And here's another Tasmanian pattern I'll show you. This one's a little bit bigger in the pole, but it's not very big. It's still less than a thumbnail. Look at that. And here's the more modern Jersey. Look at that one. Big pole, right? So when it comes to balance, some people like a forward heavy axe, and that is usually better for when you're chopping downwards. When you're chopping downwards, it's a good thing, right? But when you're felling, when you're going horizontal, you might want the balance. You might want it to balance out, kind of be heavy, as heavy it is here as it is here. It's a learning experience. You know, you got to try different stuff to see what you like. When it comes to balance, obviously a double bit is going to be the most balanced because the bit on this side is also on this side. But it's a little more dangerous. So you have some options to weigh there.